Oh, I'm back, YouTube. Hold on. Hold on, YouTube. I'm back. Oh my God, there's already three people in here. What are y'all doing, man? Come on. I respect the love for the podcast so much. I appreciate y'all for being here. Oh boy, doesn't this one feel better? See if I can share the screen. We're gonna get the Ferg box stats up here for everybody to take a look at. You know Ferg stats. You love Ferg stats. Let's see if anybody's gonna join in tonight before we get started. Whew, I'm gonna have to zoom in on these, man. My eyes are getting old. All right, YouTube. I don't know if anybody else is going to join us, so I'm just going to kick this thing off here and we're going to get it started. Are you ready? All right, sports fans, we are back with a massive 38-point victory in the jungle tonight for your Auburn Tigers. They didn't just cover the spread, they tried to make up for Monday night's game just a little bit here with a 95-57 win over Merrimack College. This is a team that was coming into this game at 0-1. They just recently made the transition to Division One, but hey, they're up here. And give them credit, man. They came to the jungle. They wanted to put together a game tonight. They did not shoot nearly as well as Bethune-Cookman did tonight. They finished shooting 25% from deep, 71% from the charity stripe, and only 29% from the floor. And in my mind, that tells you how much of a defensive effort the Tigers put together tonight. Much better defensive game. We got a lot of contenders here for MVP. There are three people in the chat right now. So hopefully the three of you are going to contribute to this MVP discussion. Ryan chimed in the group chat. He wants to lead the way tonight talking about Keyshawn Hall, which once again, you cannot say enough about number 7 for the Auburn Tigers. He finished with 25 points in 26 minutes tonight, 14 rebounds. That is a Janai Broom-like effort of stuffing the stat sheet tonight. He only had 1 assist tonight, but finished with a big 0 in the turnover column. And most importantly, from my perspective, only 1 personal foul. This is a guy that plays so freaking hard, crashing the glass, getting inside, and being fouled a lot. So making the decision to not foul a lot in his own behalf is going to be the key to not just keeping him on the floor, but in my opinion, keeping him healthy for the rest of the 28 games that we've got coming here in the regular season. Keyshawn Hall went to the free throw line 13 times tonight. That is a lot of free throws to be shooting, but he made 12 out of 13. He was 1 of 1 from deep. And like I said, finished with 25 points. Massive, massive effort from the big guard, Keyshawn Hall. But perhaps overshadowed as a new player is our favorite freshman, number 33 in the program, but number 1 in our hearts tonight, Sebastian Williams Adams. What a coming out party for his entry into the starting lineup. Spoiler alert, if you didn't watch the game, Keyshawn Murphy took the night off. I think they're going to try to get him healthy for the Houston game. We might see him next week. I would not be surprised if we do not see him playing in Auburn's next game. He's got a lot of soft tissue injuries. He rolled an ankle early against Bethune-Cookman. He was incredibly effective against Bethune-Cookman, but he's going to be a guy that we need to see for a long, long time this season. I think our interior play, once again, is going to go such a long way in determining just how good this team can be. And Sebastian Williams Adams, SWA, his emergence as a freshman ready to go and ready to play has been great. We're going to see how he does in the SEC, but tonight I was most impressed with his big to big passing. He led the way with 5 assists for the Tigers tonight, in addition to his 14 points and 5 rebounds, completely stuffing the stat sheet. He was 4 of 6 from the free throw line. We love to see the improvement there. Played 26 minutes tonight. That's big time minutes for a freshman. I know he's got a big body, but it's nice to see a guy come in and feel like he's that ready to compete. And more importantly, that ready to turn the page on a less than impressive debut in Neville Arena. But for my money, the MVP of tonight's game has got to be the big 7-footer, number 14, Emeka Oporum. Holy cow. What a game for this kid. 4 of 4 from the floor, 3 of 6 from the free throw line. Admittedly, not great numbers, but when you think about Dylan Cardwell struggles at the free throw line last year. Your backup center shooting 50%. Hey, you'll freaking take it. 4 rebounds. He only had 2 personal fouls. He added a steal tonight, snatching a pass in the lane. His footwork was great against an undersized Merrimack team, working as an enforcer on the interior. He didn't play in that week 1 matchup. So it's nice to see him get out there and at least look like he belongs on a Division I basketball court. He finished with 11 points tonight to go along with those 4 rebounds. And it was a coming out party for him. We had not seen him against Bethune-Cookman. We didn't know if there were some health issues or if it just seemed like he wasn't lined up with the scheme. But tonight, he didn't just play, he made an impact. And in my opinion, he showed that we've got a little bit of backup size there at that center position when we need to spell Keyshawn Murphy going forward. And I think if you can turn Emeka Oporum into an 8-minute guy in SEC play, if we can get 8 good minutes out of him a game, that is going to make such a huge, huge difference in how far this team can go. I mean, it's just so impressive to see when these guys start to click a little bit. Speaking of another guy that clicked a little bit, we're going to talk about Abdul Bashir. Y'all know Abdul Bashir has a special place in my heart as a part of this team, but I'm going to go ahead and crown him. I don't see, oh, wait, hang on. I'm going to go to the YouTube chat here. West Magnolia, shout out to my guy, Big Meek. That is what I'm talking about. Yes. Big Meek, he came in, you know, on the Jungle Auburn podcast, a guy like Keyshawn Hall, we brought him in here. He was the leading scorer in the Big 12. We brought him in here to be the guy. Thus far, he's been the guy. But you're going to see a lot of guys that play for a lot of teams. I mean, we did a really good job of getting Ty Dorsett into some foul trouble tonight. It made him completely ineffective. He was our player to watch going in. But their second leading scorer, Ernest Shelton, who had 15 points in their debut, dropped a cool 23 points tonight, 4 rebounds on 5 of 10 shooting from deep and 6 of 12 from the field. He was 6 of 6. He was perfect from the free throw line. So look, every basketball team has got a guy, and it's pretty clear from the first couple of games and from the preseason, Keyshawn Hall is going to be the guy for this team. He's going to stuff the stat sheets. He's going to get to the line when you need him to. But what's going to make the difference and getting us over the hump are these role players, these guys that can steal you minutes and steal you points, 5 to 6 points a game. It's going to make a big difference. It remains to be seen if Meek can do that in SEC play. But seeing him come out tonight and get double digits in the scoring column, go perfect from the floor, be where he needed to be an enforcer inside, I'm feeling good about it. I'm feeling a lot better about it than I did after the first night. So, Emeka Oporum, number 14, we are crowning you tonight's Jungle MVP. Let's go through some of the rest of the stats.
Dude, I didn't even have a chance to
whoa, wait a minute.
say anything, huh?
Hold on. The crown has been removed.
I'm kidding.
Storm and Norman has jumped into the chat. Storm,
I've been
go.
sitting here for like 7 minutes listening to you talk.
Sorry, man. I'm trying to do the YouTube thing at the same time. It's hard podcasting solo. That's why I'm so grateful Ryan's here. Ryan, talk about your boy Keyshawn Hall's game tonight. Holy freaking cow.
Yeah, man. I mean, in the first, I think by like the 12-minute mark, he had essentially
7 and
6
7
rebounds.
7 and 7. He was 7 and 7 at the 12-minute mark.
Crazy. I mean, he's going to be. There will hardly be any games this year that he has less than 20 points. I think. I mean, he's just going to get his. He's going to be our scorer. He's going to get the ball on the block. He's going to rebound. So, last year, I think it was the case that we went to every game expecting that Janai Broome was going to be the MVP. So sometimes we had to look for other things that impacted the game or other players that stepped up. And so I agree with you there. And I know I said in the chat Keyshawn Hall, but that's just because he had an insane 25 and 15 and probably could have had more, honestly.
Well, hey, look, I don't know if you got in. I don't know if you got in when I was talking about this, but like it's a Janai Broome like performance, man. Those are huge numbers. It doesn't matter who you're playing against, and we don't want to take that for granted. You don't want to take that for granted that you've got a dude on this team.
Those type of numbers are going to be first team SEC. Like easy. If he keeps that up,
easy.
It's I'm not gonna lie. I watched Emeka Oporum play against Memphis, right? And He looks like a baby deer out there, and he still does. But I'm not gonna lie, he's got a long way to go. A long way to go. But we saw some things tonight, some intangibles, some things that you can build off of that kind of made me go, huh? Er? Like perk up a little bit. Like the guy has some pretty good hands.
Yo, you want to talk about the problem with our centers in Auburn basketball history? It's been the hands inside. But you know who's got the most reliable hands inside in all of podcasting? Whose music do I hear from the corner? It's Ike Jones of the War Report, ladies and gentlemen. Say welcome to Ike Jones.
Yo, what's up, y'all?
What's up, Ike?
Ain't
Ike,
too much.
were you able to catch a lot of the stream for this game?
Oh no, I watched the entirety of this one.
Excellent, excellent. All right,
Ike,
we're in some.
what is your take on Emeka, man? I kind of saw some things tonight that I didn't see against Memphis or in any of the practices that kind of made me perk up a little bit.
Yeah, I liked what I saw from Aporum tonight. I think the biggest thing for me with him was you already mentioned his, he has good hands, but patience, right? Like he wasn't too anxious to try to go up and make shots. He was being patient around the rim, and he moved his feet well on the defensive end. His height, of course, makes him a good rim protector, but a portion of being a good rim protector is the ability to just be in position. I mean, I think he did a good job of being where he needed to be defensively to put himself in position to make those blocks. So definitely like that. This isn't a physical team from Merrimack, so I'm wondering what's going to
Yeah.
happen when he goes up against more physical post players, whether or not he's going to be able to stand his ground in there. But what I did love, and I'm giving you a very long-winded answer, apologies, but they went to more of a zone look when he came in and allowed him to just kind of be a guy patrolling the middle of the defense. And I think that that's a really good way for him to be able to be active in the game and not have to be like one-on-one versus a post guy.
Yeah, what was I said from the beginning of the year, and I said before the game today that this team is going to go as Keyshawn Murphy goes. I'm going to stand by that the whole year, just because I just think he's that type of player that we got to have play well against good competition if we're going to have a shot. And so, knowing saying that, I didn't know what to expect out of Mecca, because we didn't really see him in scrimmages or things like that just because of his back issue or whatever. And then he came against Memphis and he just kind of looked lost out there. You could tell that he needs some size, some weight on him. But he had some of those intangibles tonight that made me kind of be like, huh, his hands, his ability to finish around the rim, most importantly, his free throw shooting. That is not a
Mm.
liability. That is, we always complain about Dylan Cardwell's free throw shooting, but Dylan brought everything else that we needed. Emeka had a pretty good stroke from the free throw line. So I was
50%.
impressed. Yeah, I was impressed with that, because that's, you don't really see that from a guy that didn't play a lot of basketball before, that's trying to figure out his body, his size, and he just came in there and had a pretty good stroke from the free throw line. So um was really impressed with what I saw to him tonight.
All right, boys, I'm going to hold your feet to the fire here. I need MVP votes.
It's Hall. Hall was the MVP. No, you know what? I take that back because I just went on this big thing about this. Sebastian Williams Adams
Ooh,
impacts winning so much for this team when he's on the floor. I'm going to give him the MVP because, listen, a lot of what we saw from Oporum was a direct relationship to what Adams was doing as far as flashing to the high post, being able to throw those lobs, his activity off the ball. I'm gonna give it to Adams. I know Hall had the double double, but I'm gonna give it to Sway on this one.
Ryan, what you got?
Mm. I'm torn, because I look at that stat sheet and I love what I see at a Hall. Um, but I can't disagree on Sebastian, because there were some shots in there. I remember the second half, he had kind of a shot on the elbow there, kind of
Yeah.
fading away a little bit. That again, there's so many new players and so many things from these guys that we haven't seen before. We don't know what they have, and they're so young and they're so raw and their talent. And like that shot by Sebastian again, I was just like, this guy's a limit for him. I compared him to I'd love to hear your thought on this, and Ben, as you as well. I compared him to a first year, a little better Chumo Kiki. Like, give him a year for his body, and I think he's going to be just unstoppable. I think.
I can absolutely see those comparisons. And I mean,
But
you're dead on when you look at his game tonight, the assist game, the big to big passing. Part of what made Meek have the impact that he did was a guy that could get him the ball in the low post. And so many times tonight, that was SWA, man, not playing like a freshman out there.
Yeah,
yeah,
and then he and Overton, I think, got terrible whistles tonight. Like he had
oh,
4 fouls. I only think he actually fouled somebody twice, and Overton
Yes.
had a terrible whistle as well. Um, but yeah, he just like I said, when he's on the floor, he impacts winning. And I like just the energy and the activity that he brings. It was the one situation Freeman's going to the lane, the ball gets stripped out of his hand, it just kind of floats out there, and who's there to grab it on the other end, turn and get a bucket and one, except Sebastian Williams Adams, right? Like he's just kind of a guy that's the ball finds him because he's always looking for the ball, right? Like he just is there when he needs to be in a lot of situations. So love the energy and activity that he brings every single minute he's out there on the floor. What he had 26 minutes,
Yep.
and he went R for 26 of them. Like it's just, he don't take plays off, he doesn't take possessions off. Like he's out there giving it full energy the entire time.
14 points on 8 shots, 4 of 6 from the line, which is an improvement over game one. We're going to need to continue to have him improve his free throw shooting. But boys, it's a democracy here at the Jungle Auburn podcast, and I think I may have been outvoted. We don't have any extra votes here in the chat. Sebastian Williams Adams, welcome to the Jungle MVP, your first of your career, and I am certain not the last. Now, we have been giving these guys some roses, talking about some of the best players, but there's still a little bit to be concerned about with the way that this team is moving. My biggest concern is our shot from deep. We once again under 30% from the 3-point line, 25%. We shot 6 of 24 from deep, including Tahad Pettiford going 1 for 7 from 3-point land. Guys, what's going on with our 3-point shot? Ryan, how you feeling, man?
I just think it's early in the year. There's a lot of guys processing a lot of. I know you're not gonna like the answer, but
No, I'm
it's
not.
a lot of guys processing a lot of information, trying to figure out. I just think they're overthinking things a little bit, and that leads to rush shots. Or you started seeing it in the second half once people started getting comfortable, like a Bashir and even a Magwood hitting that three. Like I think these guys just need to see the ball go through to start building that confidence. And they're trying to understand where they're going on defense. They're trying to understand where they're going on offense to help the thing flow. So I'm not concerned about it. I don't think it's anything to raise a red flag about right now. Just because of the newness of everything, the chemistry they're trying to figure out where to go, where to be. These teams, Bethune and Merrimack are running some weird defenses. Like they're not running a lot of man, and they're just kind of throwing us off a little bit. And so, I know you're concerned about Tahad shooting, but he's a focal point of the offense right now. I think teams are locking in on him, and I think it's interesting to see him operate and move the ball compared to last year to this year, just because I don't know if he's trying to do too much. I don't know if he's trying to get his shots in. He's trying to see the ball go through. I won't be concerned about it until SEC play. Just to be honest with you, I think it'll come. I think it'll start going through. If you recall the first couple of games or the first game last year before Houston, he didn't have a single point, and then he goes out there against Houston and does his thing. So I think we're poised for something like that to come up here pretty soon.
Okay, fair enough. And look, we saw him split a double team and hit a beautiful floater tonight. He did finish double digits in the scoring column, 4-4 from the free throw line. Ike, how you feeling about Tahad's game?
Um,
That
too
side
many.
tells me a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it's too many forces for him right now, right? Like I think a lot of what he's getting is not in the flow of the offense. And, just to kind of go back to what you were just saying about the difference between him and that Houston game. And this is kind of a difference between him being a lead guard and him being an off-ball guard, which he was during Houston. And a lot of what you saw from him, even during the tournament, was situations where, number one, so we have to acknowledge that the defenses are tilting in his direction, and they're playing a lot of zone stuff that's trying to make sure that he's not getting one-on-one matchups out front, right? But Auburn, and I even critiqued Auburn for this in the tournament, stopped running plays for Tahad once he became a point guard, right? Like you have to remember when Coach Bruce Pearl talked about Tahad Pettiford during the offseason, he said he wanted him to be a scorer. This guy's a scorer. I want him to go out there and score the basketball. But then when JP Pegues materializes into a nothing burger, you have to move Tahad into a point guard role. And him as a point guard is just not the same kind of shot seeking or a guy that they're running stuff for. And it's almost as if because he's bringing the ball up the floor, they forget that, okay, he initiates the offense. Cool. Now get the ball out of his hands and let's run something for him. Right. And so I think that they need to get back into a situation where they're running stuff for him to allow him to be in attack mode at points during the game. Doesn't have to be often. And so I think that that's part of the issue is that he's growing into a point guard full time. And then the other portion I think is like the defense is just they're saying to themselves, we're not letting the NBA guy get off on us tonight.
Absolutely. I mean, you look at the other stat columns here. Auburn won rebounding 55-24, including 21 offensive rebounds. But more importantly, they were plus 20 on the defensive glass tonight. They absolutely took away the second chance points for them. And the points in the paint tonight, not even close. 42-14. Auburn won points in the paint. So you can see that tonight's game really wasn't about the outside shot. It was about banging it low inside. Auburn finished with 5 players in double digits tonight. Keyshawn Hall led the way with 25. Sebastian Williams-Adams had 14. Emiko Oporam with 11. And then Abdul Bashir with 10 and Tahad Pettiford with 13. Ryan, of those 5 guys, who needed the double-digit scoring points tonight the worst?
I mean, it was really nice to see Bashir get double digits because we're gonna need him to shoot really well. And I think I mentioned this in a group chat earlier. We got so many guys that you could just tell that the speed of the game is really fast for them right now. They've never played at a level like this before. I mean, Bashir is a perfect example of that. Playing at the level he was last year. So going out there and starting to see some shots go through, starting to get in the free throw line. It's a huge thing, and you're just at this point trying to build confidence for guys, especially with the matchup that we have coming in less than 2 weeks in Birmingham. That's going to be a whole different ball game, and so at this point, you're trying to build up confidence, trying to build up guys that never played this level. I want to also go back to the Hod discussion, which I like Ike's point about playing off the ball. Like he played off the ball a lot, and that really helped spark him in a lot of what he did last year. I think at one point tonight you saw him and Magwood on the floor at the same time.
End of the first half. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know at what point they feel comfortable enough throwing Magwood out there with him because you could still tell the game is a little too fast for him, and he's trying to get his shots in, get his own. And so you can kind of see that against Bethune. You can see that a little bit tonight. So I think if he catches up to that and they feel comfortable putting in him running the point, then you may see a little bit of that side by side. But other than that, I don't really know who could be our backup to Tahad to be able to allow him to play off the ball, unless you guys could think of anyone that, or nope. That'd be the only way I could see that happening.
Yeah, I think that was going to be an issue that I thought this team was going to have coming into the season. I just don't know that they have enough depth at the lead guard position. So I find it difficult to find, like you said, if Magwood's not going to come in and be able to be a 15 to 17 minute guy for you, and you've got to have Tahad playing 28, 30 minutes a game, he's going to need to conserve his energy and really just kind of be a closer for you as opposed to being a lead scorer, which is fine because Keyshawn Hall can be that guy. But I just don't know that you're going to see his numbers pop off of the screen very often unless he just catches fire and in a game or two. But they're just not going to run a lot of stuff for him.
Well, let's talk about 2 guys that didn't necessarily pop in the scoring column, but popped on the stat sheet in other ways. Elijah Freeman grabbed 6 rebounds tonight. Philip Jovic, getting the start at the 5 with the injured Keyshawn Murphy, grabbed 10 rebounds in addition to his 9 points. Now, some of those were putting back his own misses there, but Elijah Freeman had an absolutely nasty Euro step again. and then finish the first half with another foul on a late 3-point shot. I mean, Elijah Freeman right now seems like the guy that giveth and taketh. Ike, what are we going to need from Elijah Freeman in the next 3 games?
When you mention guys that the speed of the game seems to be too much for them, for Freeman, it's weird because sometimes he's moving appropriately.
Yeah.
And it's just like every now and then it's like a lapse, and he just like the Euro step that you mentioned, right? Like that was perfect, right? He's coming down open floor, hits him with the Euro step, finishes lovely. He comes down a couple of possessions later on a break and he gets fouled on it, but it's like I don't know what the idea was of what you were attempting to do when you got in there. You just mentioned the fouls on the 3-point shots at the end of half and end of game. It's just like what why are we contesting in that way in that moment? The one I mentioned earlier was Williams Adams catching the ball off, like that was one where he just kind of lost the ball haphazardly. And again, you see moments where it's like, oh, this is exactly what you want. He reminds me of
Who's that?
Chaney Johnson. That's kind of how Chaney was when he first got here. It's where you'd see these splash moments where you're like, okay, I see it. There's the mid-range. There's the athleticism. There's all the things that you need to be able to do to compete at this level. And then every now and then he gets the ball and he's fumbling it around when he gets into the lane. And it's just like, yo, what are we doing right now? So he reminds me of Chaney Johnson in that way, particularly early. Now, as Chaney gotten, that second year, Chaney Johnson's a different animal. But early Chaney, very clumsy, very fumbling the ball all over the place. But you see the athleticism that lets you know there's something there.
Almost like he's too fast for the game. Ryan, can you talk a little bit about Philippe's game?
Yeah, I think it's important that we get Keyshawn Murphy back and healthy because
Yes,
Jovic
yes.
is not a 5, and you could tell he's that's just not what he's used to playing down there. And so again, important stuff of guys growing. The guy didn't grow up playing basketball over here. He played a completely different style of basketball in Europe and where he grew up playing. And so, the physicality of the game, the speed of it, the slapping at the ball differently than what he's used to over there. So, you could tell it for a lot of these guys, it's just going to click at some point. Just when is that? Knowing where to be at the right time. You can tell he's kind of overthinking a little bit. But we see flashes, right? The dunk against Memphis. Tonight he had a nice post move. But he's not built to be a 5. And so that's why the health of some of these guys down low is important because he's a true 3-4, in a guy like that. And so I think he's just a little uncomfortable right now in what he's trying to do and trying to understand where to be at the right times. And that's just a lot of what this team is right now. And so you could see it in their eyes and their face. I sat behind the bench for the game Monday, and you could just see like these guys. Yeah, I had to. You get to see their eyes were just like so big at like what they were all trying to do, and so like tonight's second half and that big run that we went on, and getting stops and just kind of stringing things together, I think just builds confidence and it builds things that you can work off of and build off of. And for Jovic, that's one of them. Just continue to be physical. Just continue to know what to do with the ball when it's in your hands, and not being afraid to shoot. Like I think he's a little afraid right now, but we know he's got a good shot in him. So that's just the same story for a lot of these guys right now.
It was sort of hard to watch tonight because for the first time in a long time, Auburn didn't have a zone buster. We've relied on guys like Jalen Williams and Chaney Johnson when folks get into this 1-3-1 or the 2-3 zone to make that elbow cut, get to the mid range, and hit the shot. We didn't really have that tonight when we needed it. We were not great in transition.
That's actually what I was gonna say about Jovic,
please.
Man.
Go
like
ahead.
he could have been that tonight, and it just seemed
Agreed.
like he was reluctant to just go do it. It's like, dude, it's there. Like, go make the elbow cut right now. Stretch the zone in this way, and he was just so hesitant. And I'm just like, what are you waiting for? Like, this is and that's the one thing again, I'm not. I don't want to get too early on the this guy needs more minutes thing because I do understand kind of why the rotation is what it is. But I liked the difference of what I saw when Oporum was in there versus the zone. He's going and he's making the early screen, right? And he wasn't flashing high. He's supposed to be in the dunker spot, but it felt like when he was in there with Williams Adams, they knew what the defined role was. He's in the dunker. I'm the guy who flashes high. When Jovic and Williams Adams were in there, I don't feel like they knew, okay, who's playing the high and who's playing the low right here. And they were taking a long time to get into that action. And it was just causing the offense to look stagnant early in the game. They eventually got it together a little bit more, but it was like about really the first half of the game. Right. So
We
I don't know.
finished with 14 assists on 31 made baskets. That to me is not quite high enough. You want to be at about that 50% or above mark to know that you're moving the ball well. And I think a lot of that has to do with how many guys are having to play out of position. And also, like Ryan's been saying, how many guys we have that are just new to this team. So, Ike, we're about 10 days out from the battle in Birmingham against the mighty Houston Cougars, the number 2 ranked team in the country, our Final Four foe from last year. Ike, what has to change in the next 10 days for us to have a chance in that game?
Um, they're going to need to get some sort of it. So number one, the identity has to be established. Like what kind of offensive team are we going to be? Are we going to be, inside out? Are we going to be like it? Clearly, is not going to be a 3-point shooting team because they shoot
Give the
terribly.
ball to 7.
So do not tell me that you want to be a team that wants to shoot through. But it doesn't feel like we're a pace team right now. It doesn't feel like we're not playing through any particular. They need to find an offensive identity, and then they need to communicate much better on the defensive end consistently to put them in a position where they can actually. They've done actually a pretty good job. Oklahoma State, not great, but pretty good job in this last game of figuring out how to get stops late. But the defensive kind of communication needs to be much better than it was for the vast majority of that first game versus Bethune-Cookman. But those are going to be the two things. What's your offensive identity, and how are you communicating better on the defensive end so that you can consistently kind of put together stretches where teams are not scoring?
We had a 6-minute stretch where we held a team without a basket tonight. Obviously undersized, obviously not at the same talent level as the Auburn Tigers. Ryan, what needs to change in the next 10 days so that we can contend against Houston?
I mean, I agree basically with what Ike said. There's just a level of comfort in just knowing what to do in the scheme of the game, right? This coaching staff's trying to figure out this team. This team's trying to figure out this team. Um, I don't really know if they could get a chemistry right now because it's almost like they're trying to overthink what they're doing a lot, especially defensively. Guys trying to point like on switches. Last year we're just so spoiled with just how they knew where to be at the right times. When there was a switching man on defense, they just always knew. And this year, you could see immediately, like the lanes and the gaps for teams driving the ball are just wide open right now. And against even the competition that we're playing at this point. And so Houston's going to exploit that like crazy with just their ability to get the lane. We don't know what that looks like. Memphis had a lot of size, but we did pretty well with that. Yeah, so I want to see against Wofford us continue to grow defensively on cutting off the lanes for driving, on getting to the right place at the right time. The past 2 games, it has just been crazy the amount of baseline drives these teams have had. Like we are not in position to cut off that baseline, and so they're getting down the baseline so quickly. They're going up for quick dump offs or cut it back out for a three. And so just being at the right place at the right time. So I want to see that against Wofford, and I also just want to see like the confidence in our shot taking. Second half today you saw that. Different guys are starting to hit some different type of shots. Elijah Freeman had kind of a turnaround in the post tonight. SWA had that elbow shot. Bashir starting to hit a couple threes. Magwood hit a three. just continue to build on that the next game to help go into a game like that. The good news is that it's going to be a pro Auburn crowd in Birmingham. I think that's going to help build some confidence there because we had that type of crowd in Birmingham against Oklahoma State, and that's good. But I really don't know. I don't really know what my expectation is for the Houston game at this point. I think it's just going to be, let's see how we do against Wofford and take it from there.
Well, look, after what happened against Bethune-Cookman, I don't want to look too far ahead, but I will say Auburn hit 6 straight free throws to end the game against Houston in a 5-point win. Ike, can this team hit 6 free throws in a row to end a game?
I think if it is your main guys, Hall and Pettiford, that are taking those free throws, you can, yes. Right now, it seems like it's a Hall and Williams-Adams show as far as being able to get to the free throw line consistently. And Williams-Adams he's been up and down in his ability to knock those down so far this year. I do think like Hall is kind of the ideal addition to this team for a stability standpoint because he is a guy who can 3-level it for you, but he gets to the free throw line consistently. Like he's had double-digit free throw attempts in both of these first 2 games, and he shot a healthy percentage in both of them, I believe, and that is miles of difference between him and Janai Broome last year. So yeah, I do think that if it's the right guy going to the line, yes, and he is a guy who can do that.
All right, boys, we covered the spread. We got another home win streak. Stephen Pearl is still undefeated as the head coach of your Auburn Tigers. Anything else you want to add before we wrap it up tonight?
Why were you hating on our guy Blake, man?
9 minutes is too many minutes for a walk-on. I'm going to keep saying this.
Listen.
I'm going to keep saying it.
Listen, when he came into the game, things were kind of dragging a little bit. He got a stop. He drew a technical. He kind of energized the crowd a little bit, and it was game over from there.
Look, Stephen Pearl.
He had good minutes tonight. He did.
I have confidence when he can ball. He is a
Stephen and Bruce Pearl do not bring guys onto this team who do not have high basketball IQs. All right. All of them have high basketball IQs. They know where to put their bodies on the floor. They know how to get their hands into passing lanes. But we are not a serious program when we have walk-ons getting 9 minutes in a game. We're just not. We're not.
I'm going to disagree with you on that. He's in practice, apparently, when he guards to Hyde, he's our best like on ball guard defender. Like he's
making
legit.
me less confident about Tahad.
He's legit. I'm saying I do not stress when he's in the game because I know he's going to take care of the ball. He's going to guard well. He's going to make effort plays. And
shout out Blake. We got good Mashalik minutes tonight. Ike, what do you got for us?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not. I don't want to see heavy minutes for him for sure. He's a little too tentative on the offensive end, particularly for me. Like he's the amount of open shots he's passed up so far in these games is kind of ridiculous. It's like, man, just shoot the ball, bro. If you're out there, let it rip.
Especially when we're up 30.
Yeah, so I just want to see him shoot the basketball, I think, a little bit more. But I don't mind the minutes that he gave tonight. I think overall, his team, I mean, listen, long way to go before we're ready to start talking about whether this team can compete for championships. But I am in a good place of saying they're going to give teams problems because they're just going to be pesky. And so that's all, sometimes that's a good place to be in where it's just like, man, you just kind of don't want to play this team because they're going to annoy the crap out of you.
Ike, you and I talked in the preseason pod. We still think this team can contend for the double bye in the SEC tournament. That's a big deal, getting those first 2 games off. I think we saw some more flashes tonight that make us a little more confident in our depth. And that's what it's going to be about because we know we got a guy in Keyshawn Hall. You know, you got a guy in Tahad Pettiford. It seems like we got a guy in Sebastian Williams-Adams for sure. You only need a couple more dudes in there, and then you just need everybody else to be able to hold that line while they're out. Boys, anything else we want to add tonight?
Nah, good win.
Yeah, well,
Ryan, how you feel about covering the spread, baby?
Hey, good teams win, great teams cover, baby.
War Eagle, boys.
War Eagle.
YouTube, thank you for joining us. We had like 3 people in here immediately after the game ended. I am shocked. Shocked, I tell you.
I was sitting here working, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to join.
Yeah, why not? You're here, right?
Yeah,
We'll see
man.
if
I'm
he,
like I said, I'm still up here editing stuff, man. I was like, yeah, so that's why I'm not looking at the camera most of the time. I'm trying to edit stuff over here on the other screen. But
I figure, Ike, we appreciate you jumping in, man. I'll send you the audio file when this is over. Wes Magnolia, shout out. I appreciate you filling up the chat and giving us the stuff. Yeah. Ryan's Okiki comparisons feel more apt every day that we watch Elijah Freeman play.
You mean
so Williams
Sebastian
Adams.
Williams Adams?
Oh, sorry, no, Sebastian Williams Adams. Yeah, sorry.
Because they were. I remember Chuma's first year. He had all the his body like was just it changed in the off season from the first year to the second year. But like you can see the flashes of what he could bring that first year, and then immediately like I don't know, it just he grew. He hit the weight room again, and it just translated well. And so you kind of see that a little bit.
I don't know if I said this to you, but I feel like he might be the only player for whom he's too fast for the game right now, right?
Elijah Freeman or Sebastian Williams Adams?
Elijah Freeman. Sorry,
Yeah.
we're still talking about Sebastian Williams Adams. No, Sebastian Williams Adams. He seems like his body's in great shape. That reverse layup tonight against contact was incredible.
Oh yeah, no. He's got that. Like, I'm not saying that's the case now, but like you could just see like he's so young that like he's got the talent, he's got the physique, but like he may take that next step next year to be a dominant type player. Like Chuma
Yeah, no,
did.
I mean, I agree with you. I think that he's still very raw. And right now he is a guy who's just kind of feeling, because to your point about Okiki, right? Like he turned from a role player to a lead player, right? And I think that Adams can be a guy who can be, if he gets his offensive game together, he can be a lead guy because he shows you can step out and shoot the three. He showed you some mid range tonight. He can go in there and bang in the post, right? Like if he really kind of gets a little bit more of a bag, it's like, okay, man, just give him the ball and let him go to work because he's got the size and physique to do that.
I should have asked this on the pod. Who do you guys think starts at the 4 once Murphy's healthy? Because I feel like it's got to be SW.
Yeah, no, it's him. It's him. Like I mean, it's him, he, Hall, and like those. That's your front court. Is Williams, Adams, Hall, and Murphy easily.
But man, Murphy's got to stay. The trend, he's got to stay healthy.
I think if we can get Emeka up to averaging 10 minutes a game, I think we can keep Murphy healthy. But we're gonna need big minutes from him, and we're gonna need big minutes from Jovic at the 5 when we can steal him.
Yeah, and I don't like Phillip playing more than. Right now, 10 minutes a game is about what I think I can stomach of him out there fumbling the ball around in the low post.
How are his hands so bad?
Yeah, I need Oporum to come along is what I'm saying. Like because he's such a good rim protector at his size. If he can figure out the physicality portion, I think the rest of it's going to be like he needs to be kind of Musa Cisse, what he was in that year when he was at Ole Miss. Or what's the other guy that was the twin tower with him at Ole Miss? I can't even think of it.
Not that guy they stole from Western Kentucky.
Was it Sharp? Jamarian Sharp.
Yeah.
Sharp. Like that's kind of the role I think he needs to be able to play for this team. A guy who can just come in and just be in because Jamarian Sharp led the SEC in shot blocks that season. Like he's an eraser out there. But physicality wise, Janai Broom was taking him to school, right? So. I think that's a good place for him to be in. He just needs to continue to figure out how to hit the weight. I mean, it's too late now for him to really hit the weight room, but
No, now just everybody stay healthy, please.
Yeah.
All right, boys. Pocket Watch, shout out. We didn't get you on the podcast because you weren't active in the chat, but we'll get you at the end. Ike, thanks for jumping in. Ryan, thanks as always. Good to see you boys. I don't know if I'll see you both for Wofford, but I'll definitely hopefully see you both for Houston, right?
I will probably be at the Houston game.
Shit. Okay.
I'll be there too. Yeah.
All right. Well, listen, if I need to send you all some mics for your phones, let me know. I can. I'll send you some Bluetooth mics and we'll make it happen. War Eagle boys.
The old Legacy Arena.
Yeah.